Silliman University, as a leading Christian institution committed to total human development for the well-being of society and the environment, adopts MySoul, the gateway to Silliman online distance learning and flexible learning.
As the official learning management system of the university, MySoul is an all-in-one, web-based teaching and learning platform where teachers can organize offline activities like assignments.
MySoul is capable for flipped learning, microlearning, classroom gamification, and personalized learning,
which ensures all forms of engagement, such as chat, assignment, activity tracker, forum, feedbacking, ebook, and many more.
MySoul runs 24/7 in any web browsers. Students can also download MySoul mobile app for easy access of the course content, progress tracking, notifications, and other activities anywhere, anytime.
MySoul hosted several support services such as the Guidance and Counseling Office, Student Government, and other student services. Chat with our librarians through the virtual library in MySoul.
MySoul is administered with your friendly and responsive technical support who are always there for you in times of your technical challenges.
In chat,
Email, and calls.
Hi, I'm Ellen Nuzria Paalan Vasquez, an incoming grade 10 student. So the first question is, as a student, what do you like most about MySoul? Adjusting to a new mode of learning is difficult. However, the MySoul platform's structure and content has made it easier for me to adapt to the new normal. I really think that is impressive and that students will be able to maximize all its services. Moving on, how does MySoul help you in your learning experience? The different tabs and sections on the MySoul platform has helped me become more organized. I can keep track of all my lessons, assignments, and deadlines because it's easy to navigate. It truly caters to the students' needs when it comes to online learning.
Hello, I am Jose Paulo Chavez, an incoming third-year student from the College of Agriculture. I am taking up Bachelor of Science in Agriculture major in Agronomy, and I have been enrolled in the mid-year classes of 2020 and also the summer term classes of 2019-2020, both of which were online, and we have been using the MySoul platform as a medium of instruction. And what do I like best about MySoul? In terms of online classes, I could say that MySoul is really complete. It has the evaluation features, methods of lecture, and medium modes of delivery. All those things are provided very well in MySoul. The delivery of education maintains its quality over MySoul. So I've been grateful enough to have experienced a number of subjects which have been taught very well. I have to mention the video and audio conferencing platform, Big Blue Button. It really has a lot of features which are unavailable in many familiar video conferencing platforms. Big Blue Button allows the student to do all sorts of things. I'm thankful, and MySoul is by far a really good experience in terms of online education. So how does MySoul help me in my learning experience? Well, apart from MySoul being a platform for, of course, the delivery of the teachers, it also incorporates the different accounts of Silliman University, which can offer their own resources and help as well. shout out to the library. Of course, the SU Virtual Library has been incorporated within the MySoul platform, and there's a lot of versatility in terms of approaching the information. There's a lot of versatility in receiving the information as a student as well. Overall, it is a different learning experience compared to the physical learning experience, but it helps and it maximizes the use of online learning. So it really helped a lot in my learning experience. Overall, it's a very commendable platform for online education. I hope the incoming school year will be a fruitful one for both, of course, the teachers and the students themselves. Thank you.
Hi, I am Raya Regina Aguilar, an incoming second-year medical technology student, and I have been taking up my summer classes with MySoul. And one of my favorite parts about it is that I can post up anything that I want from any format such as Word documents or PDF documents in a non-complicated way. MySoul has helped me so much in my learning experience. As an introvert, I do not usually join in discussions. However, MySoul has given me the opportunity to do so because I can post up in any open forums that I want with no complications at all. Now that has been my experience with MySoul.
MySoul upholds its core values in online distance learning experience, making students as critical thinkers, transformative Christian witnesses, effective communicators, and independent, reflective, lifelong learners. Our core values remain unchanged in online distance learning, that an integrated, inquiry-driven approach prepares students to succeed, that students learn in different ways, and MySoul carries the responsibility to support these differences, that developing a passion for learning requires a pool of faculty members passionate about teaching, and that collaboration, creativity, flexibility, and willingness among all constituents are key. As the transition gives apprehension and anxiety to some, Silliman University, through MySoul, is excited for the new possibilities in store for all.
To our community of learners, stay safe, you all. As we open the new school year, we welcome you to MySoul, a learning management system that is a platform for SOUL, Silliman Online University Learning, SOUL. Our trustees, administrators, faculty, and staff are together in our drive to expand the learning frontiers using the tools of 21st century education, now fast-tracked by the COVID-19 pandemic. Silliman University is on full gear to online distance learning from face-to-face instruction and is also working on a blended learning environment. SOUL expands our learning frontiers, promoting student independence in learning to critical adoption of available information, concepts, and constructs available in the internet world. In this way, teachers and students will have a vast array of options to support their pace, style, and depth of learning. While social interaction is challenged in this pandemic, the platform ensures dynamic and interactive activities between and among students and teachers. From kindergarten, the graduate school, SOUL will ensure fulfillment of the university's commitment to quality holistic education by putting the learners at the heart of the teaching learning process. As well, SOUL incorporates other key student services like online guidance and counseling, virtual library system, ecumenical faith programs, cultural activities, and many more. Silliman University invites you to an exciting new world of education.
Before the webinar begins, rename your Zoom name to your complete name and department and/or affiliation so that we can easily identify you. Kindly mute your microphone when not in use. Next, switch on your video if your connectivity allows you. If you have questions with regards to the presentation, there will be an open forum right after. Please type it in the chat box or use the raise hand reaction button in Zoom and unmute yourself. The session is video recorded. Recordings will be made available at the Silliman Online University Learning website. Heavenly Father, we come to you in this hour, asking for your guidance and protection to our virtual gathering today. We thank you for the gift of life, the gift of family, the gift of work, and the gift of friendship. We thank you for this great opportunity to bring us together in this session as brothers and sisters. Bless the committee, the facilitator, and the attendees of this gathering. May we continue to value and appreciate the true essence and meaning of life with the help of your grace. And as we go along to our discussion today, we humbly pray that you would deepen our understanding. Lord, enlighten us and give us wisdom every day. Forgive us for our shortcomings and remind us to always be mindful of the things we do in life. We offer our life and our decisions to you, O Lord. May this gathering today create a memorable experience and a fruitful outcome. We ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, our Redeemer and our Savior. Amen.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Fredly Bukog, the training specialist from the Office of Silliman Online University Learning, or SOL. So this afternoon will be our last session for retooling unlimited face-to-face instruction. To give us the full detail or the rationale about this seminar, may I call on our information and quality specialist from the Office of SOL, Ma'am Alf. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sir Fredly, and mahayong hapon sa tanan. Okay, so welcome to, as Sir Fredly has mentioned, the fourth leg of our series of retooling, no? And for the non-first timers in teaching, it's our last motong gistorya ni Sir Fredly. But for those who are just newly hired or first timers in teaching with MySoul, so you still have next week. Pero sa katong mga kuan na kanang mga maayo na kay sa MySoul, this will be our last. This will be something that will help us in enhancing our use of the three
teaching strategies that we have learned in the past webinars, no? So, welcome to our face-to-face. Naana tayong mga face-to-face participants diha. I think so. Yeah, naana sila. Welcome, and as well as our virtual participants. So we have like 30 something virtual participants. Welcome, and we are done with the 3 teaching strategies that we can make use of in the incoming school year, and they are blended learning, hybrid learning, and high flex learning. So if this is your first time to join us for the series, because I've seen some names that I have not seen in the past webinars, no? So you can feel free to visit us in our MySoul YouTube channel to have a clearer idea of how these modalities are used as teaching strategies, no? And perhaps, Sir Fredly, you could provide us the link in the chat box later on. Pwede, no? We could at least for them to go over or to go back, no, and understand fully our teaching strategies, no. And then what else? We also have made, because the others who have seen it during the past webinars, we utilized like a virtual classroom that we're in, like for my part, for blended learning. So we will be sharing also the link in the, Sir Fredly, would it be available in the training course for teachers, so that they could also, you could also enroll or self-enroll with an enrollment key, no, so that you will be able to really experience also how it is set up in Soul, no. And for this afternoon, okay, so for this afternoon, what are we going to learn? So even if we're done with the 3 teaching strategies for this afternoon, we will focus on designing personalized learning in limited face-to-face. So which means that together with our learning plan set up for either blended, hybrid, or high flex, we will make use of making PLD in our virtual classrooms, including our activities in the physical classroom. Can we still make use of the PLD even in limited face-to-face with our activities there? So how can we implement it in our teaching strategy, no, in limited face-to-face? So this might be some of our questions. How will we be able to make use of PLD in limited face-to-face? So we will learn from our speaker this afternoon. He is actually he's the expert when it comes to all this, because he sets up everything for us in MySoul. So without further ado, I will give the floor and the screen. I will pass the screen to our MySoul administrator, Sir Jade Montemayor. Sir Jade?
Thank you so much, Ma'am Alfie. Can I be heard?
Yes, yes, sir.
Thank you. To our participants, online participants, thank you for attending today's session, and then for our lone participant for this afternoon here at Mariano Lau. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everybody from Zoom. Okay. So this afternoon, our topic is about personalized learning designer, right? So let me just share my screen first. Share my screen. Okay. I hope you can see my screen now. Wait,
Yes, sir. Oh no, sir.
One moment. All right. Okay. So, um, yeah, as what I've said, this afternoon, we will be talking about personalized learning. So basically a designer for personalized learning in MySo. So I'm Jade Montemayor, and I will be the one to talk about how are we going to design personalized learning in our virtual classroom, which is an integral part of the limited face-to-face that we'll be having for this coming school year, right? So our objectives for this afternoon, we actually have three. So first, we're going to describe the role of personalized learning designer in the current context of Silliman University's limited face-to-face. And then second one, we're going to demonstrate the different strategies or different in strategies in utilizing PLD on blended, hybrid, and high flex modalities. And lastly, sorry. Okay, sorry. Sorry for that. Okay. So lastly, we're going to integrate personalized learning in the course, in your courses, in your individual classes through personalized learning designer. Okay. So why are we doing this? Because again, as what I've said, there's been a memo for this coming school year about limited face-to-face with 100% capacity. So from the previous sessions, we talked about the different strategies that we can use in terms of delivering content with the current context of the limited face-to-face. We have blended, we have hybrid, and we also have high flex. So basically, these modalities or these strategies, they also have different variants, right? So we'll be talking about how can we implement personalized learning with those kind of variants in the different strategies. Okay. So before we start with actually going on to the nitty-gritty of personalized learning, just to give it a context, we're going to define, or at least what's in the textbook, what is personalized learning. So just to sum it up, I give it three definitions, right? So first, different learning path for different learners. We do understand that our learners, they may vary in terms of comprehension, in terms of really understanding the topic. So personalized learning makes different learning paths just in one subject for different learners. That could be one purpose of personalized learning. It also gives your learners their own learning journey. So it's basically the learning itself becomes a journey in a meaningful or thoughtful way. So basically, personalized messages, personalized emails that could add up in terms of having a meaningful and thoughtful way in finishing the course. And lastly, PLD, it empowers the student to pursue self-directed learning. So like for example, in senior high, yes, we do have SDL, but personalized learning, it made the students feel like they want to pursue self-directed learning in your class because of the different interactions, automatic interactions that they have in your virtual classroom. So now that at least we have an idea of what personalized learning is, so how can we design the personalized learning inside our virtual classrooms? Now, if you notice, for sure, for other participants who have been using PLD, for sure you are familiar now with what PLD is. But if you are just new to MySo and maybe you haven't heard of what PLD is, it is actually a feature that is, let's just say, it is unique to our platform. So there are a lot of learning management system providers nowadays, but personalized learning designer is unique to our. Okay, hold on a moment. Asan ito? Okay, I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. So let's go back. As what I've said, personalized learning designer, it is a tool that we can use to personalize the learning of the students in your virtual classroom. So what I've said also, this particular feature, it is unique to our LMS provider. So as what I've said earlier, there have been a lot of learning management system providers nowadays, but PLD, or personalized learning designer, is unique to OpenLMS, which is our current learning management system provider, right? So what is PLD? So personalized learning designer, it automates actions inside your virtual classroom. So even though we are utilizing limited face-to-face, but we do have, we will still be using our virtual classroom, right? So PLD automates actions in your virtual classroom. So like, for example, sending messages, following up with course materials based on learners' results, and many, many more. So those are one of the features of PLD. Those are the things that you can do with PLD, automation. The second one, it allows instructor to automate elements. So like, for example, if you want that when the student enters your course, they will be redirected to a particular video, they will be redirected to a particular activity. Yes, PLD can do that. And lastly, as what I said, it is unique to our platform. So that's what PLD is. So now that at least we have an idea of what personalized learning is, and then what are the tools that we can use inside our virtual classroom to integrate personalized learning with the help of personalized learning designer. I will give you different scenarios, right? So from the blended learning, from the hybrid, the HyFlex, I will be showing you different scenarios wherein we can integrate PLD inside your virtual classroom. And along the way, we will also be discussing some of the features in MySoul that that haven't been introduced yet. Okay. So first, this is in blended learning. So using PLD in blended learning, we have 3 scenarios. And for the first scenario, so this will be our first scenario, right? The teacher wants to group the students in an upcoming performance task using the group choice activity. So in this case, we will be using a group choice activity. I hope you tried now using the group choice activity. This particular activity, instead of you as the teacher selecting who will be members of a particular group, students themselves, they can select their group mates. Okay, so that's group choice activity. The teacher is giving 1 week to decide on their group mates. Sorry. All right. So the teacher is giving the class 1 week to decide on their group mates, right? The teacher will send a daily reminder to those students who have not chosen a group within the given time frame. So this will be our scenario number 1. This is in blended strategy. So how are we going to use PLD for this particular scenario? So let's take a look at the given. The given is there's an upcoming performance task, and the teacher needs to group the students, right? Now, let's just say this is Monday, and then the deadline will be on a Friday. So the teacher is giving the class 1 week to decide on the groups or who will be their group mates. Now, the teacher, within that week, the teacher will send a daily reminder to those students who have not chosen a group within the given time frame. So within that week, who among the students who have not chosen a group yet will receive a daily reminder that, hey, you have to choose a group for this particular task. Now, take note that the main purpose of PLD is to automate things, to automate actions. So how are we going to use PLD to personalize or to automate this particular scenario? Sige, I would rather suggest that if you have a second device, you can simulate with me, or you can work with me with this one. Let me try to stop the sharing and share another screen. I'll just go to so. So for this particular session, this is more on, it's like a workshop, no? We'll be dealing with several scenarios, and we'll be breaking down the scenarios and integrate PLD. If you have a question, just feel free to raise your hand. Okay. So let me share my screen. So for an instance, this is me as a teacher, and this part, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So these are, for instance, these are my my courses or my classes. Right. So I'll be using a training course. So this is, for example, my class. And take note that the scenario said that the teacher will use the group choice activity so that the student can select their group mates themselves, right? So for you to use the group choice activity, you need to have a grouping first. So I'm going to create just 3 groups for this example. So I hope you're now familiar with creating groups, right? You just have to go to settings of the course, users, and groups. And then I will be making 3 groups for this one. For instance, this is group 1. That's it. So the reason why I'm making these groups is for the group choice activity. And lastly, we have the group number 3. Okay. All right, so I now have 3 groups, and I will be going back to the course page. So let's just say, for an instance, this is under topic 1. So here, under topic 1, let me just remove this particular. Okay. So to add the group choice activity, just click create learning activity and look for group choice. This one. So you have to click that one. And then what's the name of this particular group choice activity? Let's just say this is performance task grouping. Groupings. Okay. And there will be several options under group choice activity. So take note that it says here, if you notice here, are you going to allow enrollment to multiple groups? Meaning, are you going to allow a student to be part of multiple groups? Of course, they just leave it disabled. And then are you going to share the result with the students? Yes, so that they can see who are the members of group 1, group 2, or group 3. And then are you going to allow the students to update their choice? Like, for example, student A will choose group 1 first, and then eventually that student will update and change his groupings to group number 2. Are you going to allow that? By default, it says no. Let's just leave it as default. And then, are you going to limit the number of responses allowed? So here, we're going to limit the number of responses, right? So we're going to enable it, and then responses, it should only be, here we have 3. So meaning, each each group can only contain 3 members, right? So that's it. And then I will be selecting the 3 groups that I created earlier, and then I'm going to add those groups here on the right side as part of the group choice, and then save and return to course. So if I'm the student, if I'm going to enter the class, and then I can just click the performance task grouping, which is a group choice activity. I'm going to click it. Oh, sorry, it says full. Let me just edit the setting. This should be okay. So now this is the view from the student's end, right? So this is the first task. They are going to choose their group. So let's just say you have 3 groups: performance task group number 1, performance task group number 2, and performance task group number 3. So the student, when he or she enters a virtual classroom, they can then go inside the group choice activity and select what group are they going to belong to. So for instance, if I want to be part of group 1, I'll just go ahead and select group 1. And if you notice, it says here 0 of 3, meaning no member for group 1 yet. But it says the capacity or the maximum number of members per group is 3, right? So if I'm going to select group 1 and click on save my choice, that will be recorded and I cannot update my choice now. So I am now part of group 1, and it says the members, there's 1 member group 1 over 3. And if you're going to click show group members, it will say that that particular student is now member of group 1. So that's just first step in making the scenario that I just showed earlier. Okay, so now that the students can choose their groups, we're going to proceed with the second task. So it says here, the teacher wants to group the students. So it's done now with the group choice activity. The teacher is giving the class 1 week to decide on their groupmates. So the teacher will send a daily reminder to those students who have not chosen a group within the given time frame. So the PLD will be applying it in that particular statement. The teacher will send a daily reminder to those students who have not chosen a group within the given time frame. So the teacher, yes, he or she can do it manually, but it would be best if the system itself can do it automatically, right? So how are we going to use PLD with this particular scenario? So let me go back to our classroom here, and then this is the course. So to access the personalized learning designer tool from the course page, just go to the course setting here, upper right side, the gear icon, and go to personalized learning designer here, somewhere at the very bottom. Okay, so settings, and then just scroll down, go to personalized learning designer. So if you notice, I have 2 PLDs as of the moment, but let me just delete those so that everything will be here. Okay, so by default, this will be your view if you haven't used PLD yet. So at the left side, you will see there's a button that says add a rule. So we're going to add a rule. This is the first step to make the actual PLD. You're going to course settings and then go to PLD or personalized learning designer. And from this window, just click add a rule. And then the rule name, you can name it in whatever way that you want. So let's say this is a reminder, a grouping reminder. So that's my rule name, because basically this particular action will automate the sending of email notification as a reminder to choose their group. So for PLD, there are three main criteria. You have the event, you have the condition, and then you have the action. So the event, these are the actions that triggers the automation, right? Now the condition, your PLD, it can have a condition. The condition is optional. So pwede siya na, pwede siya wala. And then you have the action. What will happen if a certain event is true? Or if a certain event is triggered, what will be the action? So that's what it says. Now the event, since this is a 1 week time frame, let's say this is a recurring event, right? So I will be using recurring event for this one. And remember from the scenario, it says the teacher will send a daily reminder. So here it occurs daily. And then what particular time of the day? Let's just say it will send a reminder at 10 a.m. starting from, let's just say here. This is September, August 1 until August 5. August 1, 2022, ending. Okay. To make sure that we set everything in the event, don't forget, because this is usually what's happening. Don't forget to click the add button on the right side to save your event, right? So click add. Oh, the start date is in the future, sorry. Let me just change it to today na lang. Yeah, let's just change it to July. Okay, and then tomorrow here, 31. Just click it. Okay. So every day at 10 a.m., this particular event will be triggered. That's the event. Now, what's the condition? If you go back to our scenario, it says here that the teacher will send daily reminder to those students who have not chosen a group yet within that week. So the condition will be those students who have not chosen a group. So how are you going to implement that in PLD? So let's go back. The condition will be here. We're done with the event. So our event is a recurring event that will be triggered every 10 a.m. every day until this ending date. And then our condition, I will be using the group membership check. This one, because we're going to check the membership of the students in a particular group, right? Are they a member of this group? Yes or no? So we will be using the group membership check. And then we're going to click add. So the triggering user is not, remember, because we're going to send the notification for those students who are not members of any group in that particular week. So the triggering user or the student is not a member of group 1. We're going to save it. For condition, we can employ or we can have multiple conditions or nested conditions. So we're going to add another condition, group membership check. We're going to add the triggering user is not a member of group 2, save. And then another one, group membership check. We're going to add the triggering user is not a member of group 3, and then save. So currently it says that user is not a member of group 1, user is not a member of group 2, and user is not a member of group 3. Now take note that on the lower portion it says all of these conditions must be fulfilled. It says all. So we should change it to any. So meaning any of the conditions that will become true, then that will trigger the action. So now that we have the event and then we have the condition, we can now go to the action. Let's go back to our scenario to see what will be the action. The action will be, we'll send a daily reminder. Okay, so that will be our action, to send a reminder to the student so that they can choose their group mates or their group within that week. So for the action, I will be using send email. And then I'm going to click add. And then for the recipient, you always have to choose the recipient. Here it says add recipient. So click add. Now who will be the recipient? The recipient will be the triggering user. Okay? That will be our recipient or users. And then what's the subject? Let's just say the subject, this is the subject of your email. Reminder or grouping reminder. Something like that. These are just examples, right? And then what would be the content of your email? So you can then include here I, and then you can insert a token, the first name of the student. You can insert the token there, and then you can type your reminder. Please, or you can start with greeting. Today, please be reminded to choose something. Just continue with the body of the email. So whatever it is, ano mo ibutang sa inyong email, you can then put it there. And if you're done, let me just remove this in the body of the email. You can just click. So I will be using the second box because I'm using a token here. The token, by the way, that's unique. That's what makes it personalized. Okay, because when the student receives the email, it seems like the email is intended for them. Because, for example, if there are 3 students, so we have student A, student B, student C. So when they receive the email, it would read something like, "Hi, student A, please be reminded," or something like that, or "Hi, student B, hi, student C." So the tokens themselves, this is what makes the email personalized. Here, the tokens. So for the tokens, you can have the user tokens. You can use the first name, last name, the email, or if you want, you can use multiple tokens there in the body of the email. Right? So there are a lot of tokens that you can incorporate in the body of the email. In this example, I will just using the first name, just to somehow make it personalized, and then you complete the body of the email, and then don't click run this action once, because that particular PLD will only run, it will not run daily, because you're going to stop once you click this particular option, once you enable this one. So after that, you simply click save changes. And then you now have your action. So are we done with creating the PLD? Certainly not, not yet. Okay. So what? So far, we triggered or we declared an event that will occur daily at 10 a.m. from July 26 to August 31. Let's just change it to July na lang. To July 31. So that's our event. Then the condition will be users who are not member of any group, groups 1, 2, and 3. And then the action will be an email will be sent to those users. And once you set the event, the conditions, and the action, you can then click save to formally save your PLD. And you will know that it's created because you will be redirected to this page. And now it says here that we have a grouping reminder. This is our PLD, the name of our PLD. This is the event. That's the condition and the action if the condition will be true. So any question for our first scenario? For first time PLD user, it might sound confusing, no? Because then again, this is not the basics of PLD because we do have a separate session for that. It's more like level 2 or level 3 or the advanced PLD. I think Ma'am Sandra, you're raising your hands.
Yes, sir. How can we put the token?
The token, ma'am. Yeah, the token, you can actually include it in the action page. So let me just share. So if you're going to edit, by the way, you can always go back and edit your PLD rule. Okay. So by just clicking the gear icon on the right side of that particular PLD. So as what I've said, to include the token, you just have to. Just to show you how to use the token, it's under actions here, and then the email. Let me just move this. So there's also a gear icon here at the right side of that particular action. So I'm just going to click this one. Here's the token now. So if you want to insert a token, let's just say hi, and then you want to insert the first name token, you can just click insert token button here on the right side, and then just look for name, first name, and that's it. The token is now inserted.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so let me just cancel this and cancel. But just in case you are very familiar with how PLD works and you know what are the different syntax of the different tokens, then you can just type them manually. If you know now how the token works, if you know what are the different syntax of the different tokens, then that's fine. You can type them manually. So that's our first scenario. We just go back here. Grace, am I sharing the right screen? Okay. So again, that was the PLD. That's how you integrate PLD for this particular scenario in a blended strategy. Remember, blended, we have online and we have the face-to-face components integrated, right? So na online, then asay face-to-face in one setup. So that's how you use PLD for that particular scenario. If there's no more question, let's go ahead and proceed to our second scenario. It's still blended. Let me just go here and check our second scenario. Okay, let's go to our scenario number 2. So scenario number 2, the teacher wants the students to access a recording about a discussion of a certain topic. So there's a certain discussion, a pre-recorded discussion, and the teacher wants that the students will access that particular discussion. Now, students won't be able to access the said resource if they haven't completed the diagnostic test about the said topic. So there's a diagnostic test before the student can access that recording. And then through PLD, the students will not be able to access that recording if they're not going to complete the diagnostic test first. So how can we do that using PLD? So let me just share. Let me go back to our online course, this one. So take note that we have a pre-recorded discussion, right? So for demo purposes, let me just create a dummy recording. So like for instance, I will just be using a label in this case. Yeah, so this is a sample recording. In an actual classroom, a recording can be a link to a Google Drive or a YouTube link if you have uploaded your recording in YouTube. But in this case, this is just some words now. Okay, so this is our recording here, and then the diagnostic test. So there are two elements for this particular scenario: the diagnostic test and the sample recording. Let me just screen. Okay, so this is our sample recording, and then I'm going to create just a dummy diagnostic test, right? So to create a test or to create a quiz, of course, you just have to create learning activity and then click on quiz. Let's just say this is a sample diagnostic test. And then I'm going to save this one. I will not be editing the settings of the quiz because we will have, for sure, if you have been using MySol now for the past two years, you know now you're expert now in terms of how the settings of the quiz works. And then if you are an incoming teacher, there will be a separate discussion in terms of how quiz works. So I will not be editing the settings of the quiz. I will just give it a name, and then I'm going to click save and display. This is just for sample purposes. So currently, we don't have any item yet in our quiz, right? I'm just going to add a dummy item. So edit quiz, and then add a new question. Just say this is true or false question. And then question name, this is TF1. Question text will be Silliman University is located in Dumaguete City. And then of course the answer for that is true. You're going to change the correct answer to true. And then if you have specific response, which if the answer is true, or if you have specific feedback, if the answer is false, then you can take from there. But then again, we will have a separate discussion for that for new teachers and for the teachers now who have been using this one for the past 2 years. For sure, you are experts now in terms of using the different items in creating a quiz. So this is our quiz now. We only have one item lang just for sample purposes. And then let me go back to the course page. Okay, that's topic number 2. So we have our recording, kumbaga, and then we have our diagnostic test. Now the diagnostic test is before, will be placed before the recording. So I'm going to move it and transfer it here. And the PLD says that the students cannot access the recording if they're not going to answer the quiz. We can do that with restrict access, but in this case, we will be using PLD for that, right? Okay, now we're going to change some settings of the quiz, just this one. The activity completion, we're going to change it. Show activity as complete when conditions are met, and then yes, students must view this activity to complete this, and then students must receive a grade to complete this activity. So it was just a true or false. So immediately after they answered, they will receive a grade. So ano lang, just two requirements. Students must view the quiz, and then they should receive a grade to complete the activity, and then save and return to course. Okay. All right. So now that everything is set up in terms of the quiz, in terms of your dummy recording, we will now create the PLD. So once again, to create the PLD or the PLD rule, from the course page, just go to the settings and then look for personalized learning designer. Earlier, when we created a PLD for grouping reminder, our event was a recurring event. Now, in this case, it will be a different event, right? Because we will not be sending reminder for this particular PLD. We will be restricting access to a particular activity, right? So our event will be what? Activity viewed. So activity viewed, wait now. It keeps on popping out. Activity viewed here, it means that when the student view the recording, that will be the triggering event of this particular PLD. When the student view the recording or views the recording, so we're going to select that particular, that's a label, right? Look for the label. I think we cannot use label for this one. Let me just go back na lang. Okay, I think I cannot use label for this. So topic 2. Let me just delete this. I will be changing it to, let's just say, this is a URL. I don't know the URL file na lang. So just be, this is a file, and I'm going to, this is the sample recording. I'm going to try to upload any file from this PC. I hope I'll take a picture from this PC. Here, this is an image. Yeah. Okay, I will be using that file as a dummy, kumbaga, recording file. Let's say, return to course. Okay, so the image was shown immediately, upon uploading, even if we're using the file, but we'll be using that one. So let's go back to PLD, Personalized Learning Designer, and then we're going to add a rule, and then restrict access to recording. That's the name of our rule. Restrict access to the recording, right? So our event is activity view. That's our event. Now you're going to choose what activity type. This time it's a file and the name of the actual file. So it's a sample recording. So take note, the event is activity viewed, and then that particular activity is a file, and the name of the file is sample recording. That will be the triggering event. Okay, we're going to click add, and then the condition. Remember that the students will not be able to access it if they haven't taken the diagnostic test yet, right? So that will be the condition. So the condition will be select condition. It should be activity completed. because they cannot access the recording if they are not finished taking the diagnostic test. So activity completed, we're going to add what particular activity user has not completed the activity. We're going to select an activity. So it's a quiz here, and the name of the quiz is a sample diagnostic test. Save. Okay, so that will be our condition. So the event is when the student tries to access the recording, and the condition is that student, in terms of taking the diagnostic test, is it finished or not? That will be our condition. It says here that if the student is not yet done with the diagnostic test, and then the action will be, we'll be having two actions for this one. The first one, we're going to display an alert, add, so maybe just a message. Let's start with a hi, and then we're going to insert a token and then the name of the student, and then maybe some instructions. Please take the diagnostic test before you can access this file. And then that's it. Click save. And then that's our first action. The second action will be the student will be redirected to the diagnostic test. Right? So go to activity. We're going to click add. So immediately after seeing the display alert, and when the student closes that alert, that particular student will be redirected to the diagnostic test. So we're going to select an activity. That's a quiz. And then what quiz? Sample diagnostic test. That's the name of the quiz. Are you going to have some delay in terms of redirecting the student to the quiz? Let's just leave it at 0 seconds and then click save. And that's it. We now have two actions. The first action, if the conditions will be true, is that there will be an alert. And then the second one will be the student will be redirected to the diagnostic test. And that's it. Just click on save. Don't forget to click on save. And now we have the restrict access to recording PLD. So if you notice the event, when the students view the sample recording, the system will check if they are done with the diagnostic test. If they are not, there will be a message, there will be a display alert, and then they will be redirected to the sample diagnostic test. And that's a loop, right? So they cannot access the recording not unless they are done with the diagnostic test. So that's the second scenario. That's how PLB works in terms of restricting the students to access a particular activity or maybe a particular resource or resources if they are not done yet, or if they are not completed, or they have not completed a previous activity. So like for example, in our cases, because I'm teaching empowerment technologies in senior high school. So most of our activities, like for example, quiz number 2, they cannot access it if they're not done with quiz 1. And then for quiz 1, they cannot access quiz 1 if they are not if they have not read the contents of topic 1 or something like that. Restricting access to a particular activity through activity completion status of PLB. Right? So question for that scenario. Ma'am Sandra, yes ma'am.
How can we go to the PLD, sir?
Okay. To the PLD from the course page. So this one is your course page, right? When you go inside the course, immediately you'll be redirected to the course page where you can see the topics and the content of the particular topic. So this is the course page. From here, to go to PLD, you go to the course settings, the gear icon here at the upper right side. Click it and then scroll down. look for personalized learning designer. So it's here, personalized learning designer. And from there, you can just click that
Thank
option.
you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. And then currently, we now have two PLDs. The first one is the reminder, and then the second one is restricting access to recording. Yes, ma'am.
So what we have here, we took a choice one. Okay, those are the scenarios that you presented. So, like ako, I will use only
This one. Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes, yes. So your list of PLDs will depend on the PLDs that you will be creating in the future. Yes. And take note that in terms of PLD, I would not be saying infinite, but there are thousands of combinations that you can use in terms of creating rules, because you can combine different events with different conditions with different actions. And those actions can be nested, meaning there are two or more actions in a certain PLD. Like, for example, our second example, right? Then you can also have nested conditions. Like, for example, in our first example, there are three conditions. So you can always have, it's not infinite, but there are thousands of combinations that we can do with PLD. Yes. So that's our second example. So let's go to our third example, which is still in blended learning. So this will be our last example for the blended learning. Let me share the third scenario. Okay. Our third scenario will be the teacher is conducting a major exam. This time it's a major exam. The teacher is conducting a major exam using the Safe Exam Browser in one of the computer lab in CCS, or in College Computer Studies. If the students, if this is, sorry for the grammatical error. If the student fails to achieve a passing grade, the teacher will be notified via email for immediate remediation. At the same time, supplementary materials will be made available to the students. So it seems like there's a lot going on here, but let's break it down into pieces, right? So the teacher is conducting this. So there's a major exam, an upcoming major exam using the Safe Exam Browser. Now, if you haven't used Safe Exam Browser, I think it's about time that you explore using the Safe Exam Browser. This particular feature of MySol will basically restrict your students to open any other sites, any other window, whenever there's an exam, as long as you set your exam to be open only in a Safe Exam Browser. So we do have a tutorial for that and how you use the Safe Exam Browser. But for this example, we will not be using that one because it's like it will take time for us to set up the Safe Exam Browser, right? But this is just a sample scenario. So there's a major exam. It's a proctored exam in the laboratory, in one of the laboratories in CCS. Now, if the student failed the exam, the teacher will be notified via email. So yes, the teacher can check what's the status of the students in terms of scores in a given exam. But how about just sending some automatic notification to the teacher if a student fails a particular exam, right? So immediately after submitting the quiz, if the student fails the exam, then it will send an email notification to the teacher. At the same time, there will be supplementary materials. Additional materials will be made available to that particular student. That student na failed sa exam. So how can we use PLD for this particular scenario? Okay, so let me just stop the sharing. and then go back to our course. Okay, so first is if the student failed the exam, there will be an email notification that will be sent to the teacher. So that's our first goal, right? So, yes. So immediately after, di ba, the exam that we are conducting in MySoul is through an activity called quiz. So if those are just objective items like multiple choice or multi type or true or false, immediately there will be a grade. Immediately there will be a result. So immediately after the student submit that particular attempt, so there will be a grade na. So when the student submits it and then he or she fails the exam, the teacher will be notified. So we're going to make a sample, or let me just use na lang the other sample, please. So I'll just copy this one, the first quiz that we had. I'll copy this. I'm going to transfer the quiz to topic 3 here, and we will name it to a major exam. Okay, and save and return to course. So this is our dummy major exam. Let's just say this is a 100-item quiz, right? So now we're going to create the PLD. The first rule will be when the student fails the exam, it will send an email notification to the teacher. So it can be a major exam, it can be a unit test, it can be formative tests, if you will. So you can actually do this particular PLD. So let's go to the quiz, not the quiz, but the course settings, then go to PLD, personalized learning. And then, of course, always, if you're going to create a PLD, don't forget to click add a rule, okay? Because PLD is just a rule that will be automated in your course. So far, we have used the events like recurring event for our first example. We have used the activity viewed event in our second example. In this scenario, for instance, we will be using the event activity graded. So once an activity is graded, that will be the triggering event, right? So event activity graded. And take note that for quizzes, which are formative quizzes or objective quizzes, they don't need manual intervention in terms of score from the teacher, right? Because we already declared the correct items or the correct score, or the correct item. So it will immediately display the score of the student after submitting. So the event is activity graded, and then the activity type is a quiz. And then the name of the activity is the major exam quiz. So that's the event. That if your quiz, which is the major exam, if it's graded, then they're going to check this particular PLD will be triggered. So we're going to add this one. Then the condition. Take note that we have a condition that if the student will fail, that's the condition. So what particular condition are we going to use in this example? By the way, sorry, I think I forgot to give it a name. Sige lang, I'll give it a name. This is exam notification. Okay. So the condition will be activity grade range. So we will now be using the grade range. Remember, fails the exam, so you now have the range. So we're going to click add. And then we're going to select an activity. So let's just say that's a quiz because it's an exam and the name of the quiz is major exam. Now, what would be your passing percentage for this particular quiz? Because you can declare it from there. So let's just say for a major exam, how about you, ma'am? What can you give me a passing percentage of an exam? Is it 80%, 75%, 60%, 60 na lang? Okay. So if the grade is less than 60%, that will be our condition, right? If the grade is less than 60%, if the student's grade in this particular quiz, which is major exam, is less than 60%, that is our condition. Okay? And then what will happen if, for instance, a student's grade is less than 60%? What will happen? Then we will go to action. The action will be an email notification, or an email will be sent to the teacher informing that this particular student failed the exam, right? So we're just going to click here, send email, and then add. So our recipient, who will be our recipient? Since the teacher will be the recipient, it's not the triggering user, it's the action creator. Because the teacher creates the action. Yes. It's the action creator, and then what's the subject? Let's just say failed in exam. And then just have to a certain student have failed the exam in something like that. Okay, and then you can insert tokens if you want, and then just click save. So we now have our action, and then you simply click save. So we now have our 3 PLDs for the blended learning. For the major exam, when the student reaches less than 60% of that particular quiz, then an email will be sent to the teacher informing that someone from this class failed the exam. Okay? So what about the supplementary materials? Diba, the scenario, it says that there will be an email sent to the teacher, and then supplementary materials will be made available to the students. So how are we going to use PLD for that? So let me go back to our course page. So let's just say this is, I will be adding this particular file. There's a page, right? Not this page. A file na lang. Resources, and then file. Let's see if this one works. Additional material for 3, and then so this time maybe you have tried using this one in your classes now, but we will be using a restriction, and not just an ordinary restriction. We will be using a release code. Okay, so for sure in some of your classes or in some of your courses, siguro you have tried restrict access. You can restrict access via activity completion, via date, groups, or user profiles. But in this particular example, we will be using a release code. Okay, that's the restriction that we will be using for this additional material or for this supplementary material. The release code, we'll just make it simple, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the release code. Not unless the students earn the release code, they cannot access this file. So that's the idea. So not unless they have the release code, they cannot access the file. So that's it. Save and return to course. Sorry, I haven't uploaded the file. But let me just choose a file. How about this one? Type it in. Upload this file. Okay, and then save and return to course. Okay, so you will know that there is a restriction to this particular activity if you notice the lock icon here at the right side of that particular activity. It means you cannot access that activity not unless you get a particular release code, right? So, okay, so now that we have the supplementary material, let's go back to our PLD. Here, are we going to create another PLD for this one? Certainly not, because we have PLD now created for that scenario. It's just that it's missing an action. So we'll go and edit the exam notification PLD. Right click, edit, and then let's go to actions, because currently the action is just sending an email to the teacher informing the student fails an exam. We're going to create another action. Now for that action, we're going to unlock release code. Okay, we will be using unlock release code, and then we're going to add, and then you'll be prompted what particular release code are you going to unlock. Remember that the release code that we used for the supplementary material is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have to put here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the release code. Click save, and then save. So that's it. So immediately after taking the exam, and then the student fails the exam, garnered less than 60% of the exam in terms of the score, then additional material will be open to that student. Additional material will be made available to that student. You can also add more actions. Like for example, you want that the students will be redirected immediately to that particular additional material. Then we can just edit the rule, and then let's go to action, and then let's add an action. But the first action is sending an email to the teacher. The second one is unlocking the release code so that the student can access the supplementary materials. Now, you want that the student will be redirected immediately to the supplementary material, then you can just add an action. Just go to an activity, click add, which particular activity type. It's a file, because that's a file. And then what's the name of that file? It's additional material for topic 3. Are you going to have some delay? Just leave it at 0 and click save. So how many actions do we have now? We have 3 actions. The first one is sending an email. The second one is unlocking the release code. The third one is going to an activity, which is the supplementary activity. And then just click save. So that's it. That's how you create or somehow personalize your PLDs in your virtual classrooms in terms of the blended. Which one now? The PLD? The PLD, it's been there naman actually from the start, yes. It was actually less explored because for the first year, we're focused with really just more of the basics of the quizzes, the assignments, and then siguro it was actually introduced. There are a series of trainings for PLD, but those are just basic PLDs. Like for example, just alert messages. When the student enters your virtual classroom, there will be personalized alert messages. So those are the trainings before, but this time it's more or less like the level 2 or the advanced training in terms of how to use PLD. Yes, ma'am. If you want, ma'am, you can visit the Soul page in YouTube. There are actually videos there regarding PLDs, how to use PLDs. Yes, ma'am.
So what we usually do is student fails and we usually, tell them to go back to the lessons, that are dependent na in the classroom.
Yes. Yeah, with that, we can actually automate those processes. So instead of just manually telling them to go back and then maybe read this one or you have to take this another, then we can use PLD for that. So instead of us manually doing that, we can have the system works for us. Yes, ma'am. Sige. So that's for the blended application, blended strategies. So we can use PLD for those kinds of scenarios. So again, PLD, you can customize it based on the need of your class, based on the need of your virtual classroom. Okay. So we will proceed. We will continue with scenario number 4. So for scenario number 4, this is more on the hybrid part of learning strategy, the hybrid. Okay, so let me just share this one. Ma'am Sandra, I think you're raising your. Sorry, Sir Mariano Umbak. Sir.
Sir, good afternoon.
Yes, sir,
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
I can, sir. I can hear you.
Sir, before we'll proceed to the hybrid, sir, it's still in blended. Can we use PLD to notify our pupils at the end, towards the end of the quarter, that they failed or their performance task failed, or like for example, after checking the performance task, their score is below the passing? Can we use PLD to notify them?
Certainly, sir. We can. Yes, we can. So just like our scenario, I think our scenario number. Sir?
Just like the PLD in the major exam?
Yes, sir, just like in the major exam. So we can certainly do that. Yes, we can certainly send notification to a particular student just in case they fail to meet the passing grade for a performance task, for an instance. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Sige. So we're going to proceed with our scenario number 4. And let me share the screen. Okay. So scenario number 4, we are now on the hybrid strategy, right? So the teacher wants to remind the students to watch a certain pre-recorded video about a certain topic. He or she wants to remind the students about this particular activity a day before the face-to-face class. Now, this is an example of hybrid learning using the flipped classroom. Okay, so one of the variant of hybrid learning is the flipped classroom. So the teacher wants to remind the students to watch a certain pre-recorded video a day before, so that, a day before the face-to-face class. Let's just say, for an instance, the class will fall on a Friday. So the teacher will send a reminder on a Thursday that you need to watch this one before we can meet face-to-face tomorrow or on a Friday. So how are we going to use PLD for that? Sige. So let me just stop this one. And then share our classroom. So for this one, we will be using two events. So in a separate, two separate PLDs with two separate events. So to add a PLD here, scenario is, okay, let me just go to topic 4. So for an instance, this is our pre-recorded video. So I will be using a file. This is a sample pre-recorded video. I'm going to upload file. File. So this is our dummy pre-recorded video file. So I just uploaded a PowerPoint now. So a day before the face-to-face class, students will be reminded to watch this particular pre-recorded video, so that when they go to face-to-face class, the teacher will be having activities, then they can answer the activities, because it's a flipped classroom, right? The discussion was posted online, and the activities will be done face-to-face. So how do we create PLD for that particular scenario? From the course page, just go to the course settings, and then go to Personalized Learning Designer. And from here, of course, the very first step to create a PLD is always click the Add a Rule button here in the left side. So add rule, and then the rule name, of course. This is unique to your rule. You can create your own rule name if you want. Reminder to watch a pre-recorded video. Yeah, so just give it a name and remind you to watch the recorded video. Now the event, since you know that the meeting will be on Friday, so there's a specific date for that. And then you want that the reminder will be sent on a Thursday, so we will be using the event specific date and time. Okay, we will not be using the current event because this is just for the current week. So we'll be using the event specific date and time. Okay, so there, what particular date and what time? So for example, the class will be on July 29. So you will send the notification on July 28. So let's set the date. 26, it's 28 July that year. And then what time of the day will the notification will be sent? So siguro mga morning no, mga 10 a.m. the notification will be sent. Exactly 10. And that's it. Just don't mind about the stories relating to the course type data. You will be using or encountering that one if you're migrating contents, particularly for PLD. So click Add. Okay, so we now have an event. So our event will trigger on July 28, 2022 at exactly 10 a.m. So it will be triggered during that particular date, on that specific date and time. Now, what's the condition? Take note that students who are finished or who already watched that particular pre-recorded video will not be able to receive the notification because it will be redundant on their part. The only ones who will receive the notification will be the students who have not watched the video yet. Okay, so we're going to add a condition, and the condition will be activity completed. Okay, so click Add. What particular activity has not completed? And then we're going to select an activity. It's a file. and then the name of the file is a sample pre-recorded video. So meaning those students who have not completed watching the sample pre-recorded video, sorry for the wrong spelling of the video, will receive the notification. That's the condition. Okay, I will just change it later na lang. Or now na lang. You just open this link. Okay, later. Okay, and then that's our condition. And then the action will be send an email. We're going to send an email to that student. So it's just as simple as sending an email. So send an email, just a reminder. We're going to add the recipient, the triggering user. When you say triggering user, that those are the users that trigger the event, right? So subject will be a reminder to watch a pre-recorded video, and then here you can just type hi, and then of course the tokens, and then your body of your email. Here the body of the email, like that. And then once done, just click on save. So after saving it, we now have our event, which is a specific date, the condition, students who has not completed watching the sample pre-recorded video, and then the action, they will receive an email, or PLD will send an email to them. So click save, and that's it. So the students on Thursday, if they are not done yet watching the pre-recorded video, at around 10 a.m., they will receive an email reminding them to watch that video for tomorrow's face-to-face meeting. So that's it. Now, let's say the student enters your course before Friday. Okay, before Friday, a student who have not watched the video yet enters your course, and you want that, since he or she did not watch the video yet, you want them to immediately be redirected to the video. Then we can use the other PLD features for that. So for example, we're going to add another PLD. Add a rule. And this is the reminder. Just say this is reminder part 2. So the student, the scenario is when the student who have not watched the video visits your classroom or visits your virtual classroom before Friday. So what will happen? So you want that, since wala pa sila nag-watch sa video, you want them to be redirected to the video. So the event will be course entered when the student enters your course. So it says your course entered here. That's the event. And then the condition is the same condition. Activity completed, has not, select an activity. That's a file. Has not completed watching the pre-recorded video. That's the condition. It's the same condition with the other one. And then the action will be, you want them to be redirected to the pre-recorded video. So select an action, go to activity, add, and then which activity, what activity type, it's a file, and the name of that activity is sample pre-recorded video. That one, and then click save, and that's it. After that, always don't forget to save at the lower left side to actually save the entire rule. So you just made 2 PLD rules for one scenario. So the first one, on Thursday at 10 a.m., students who have not watched the video will receive an email notification reminding them to watch the pre-recorded video prior to the face-to-face meeting on Friday. That's the first one. The second one is when the student enters your course or enters your virtual classroom before Friday and they haven't watched the video yet, they will be redirected to the video. they'll be forced to watch the video kumbaga. Because that's a requirement of your class, to watch the video before the face-to-face. Because then again, this is a flip strategy. So discussions will be posted online, and then activities or quizzes will be done in face-to-face. Yes, ma'am. Yes. That could be an example. Yes. Just in case he or she missed the instruction during the last face-to-face, then he or she will be reminded that, oh, there's something for them to watch before the face-to-face class next month. Exactly. Yes, that's why at least on our part, at least we do our part to really remind them, to at least find ways to remind the students, to send them emails. So it's at the end of the day, it's really up to them to really check. If they will not check the emails, then the ruling will be useless if they're not going to check the emails. So at least we are doing our part to send them notifications and reminders that there's this particular video that we need to watch before our face-to-face meeting on a particular day. In the messenger, ma'am. Yes.
And then that's where we remind them to check the
Yeah. Yeah. It's more or less ano siya, it's like manual checking kumbaga. So unlike this one that it's automatic automated na siya na at a particular time a reminder will be sent to the students about this one. Okay. So
we can have that also at the same time after we do so they can check so we can have that one at the same time. We can also have the GC to at least
yes, ma'am.
and then to check
Because the GC, it's accessible to the students.
Yeah.
By every now and then, they check Messenger. So it's not that every now and then they check Soul or email, but every now and then, based on data, they check the Messenger. So yeah, in a way, pwede po na siya, effective po na siyang mga GC. Sige, ma'am. I think I have a question from, wait lang. From Ma'am Hadlock, when will actions in topic 3 take effect immediately after the failed exam? And when will the actions in topic 3? I think this was from the previous example. Sorry, I nawala na po ano ko. When will actions in topic 3? The topic 3. Let me try to go back to topic 3. So the topic 3 was a major exam. Yes po ma'am, immediately after failing the exam. So, di ba, when you submit a quiz, there's this button that says, are you sure you want to submit everything? Submit all and finish. So immediately after clicking submit all and finish, a grade will be generated for that attempt. Now, when the grade meets the criteria of your condition, which is when the student fails the exam, then the actions will then be acted by the PLD. Automatic na siya. Yes. If the conditions will be true, then the actions will be true too. So that the actions will then take effect. Yes. So it is always the action. The taking effect of the action will mostly, I mean not mostly, but will be based on the condition. If the condition will be true, then the action will proceed. If the condition of your PLD will be false, then the action will not take effect. So it will always end up with your condition. Yan na siya. Sige. Our next example, let's go to we still have two more scenarios, no? Anyway, we still have 1 hour for our activity and the other scenarios. Sige. Let's proceed with our second to the last scenario. Just share this one. Okay, scenario number 5. Sige. For this scenario, the teacher is conducting a synchronous session. So we have this variant in hybrid learning that the teacher can perform synchronous session online. That's what sets apart from blended. So teacher is conducting a synchronous session through Zoom. Zoom link is posted inside the virtual classroom. Prior to joining the session, the teacher wants that the students will record their attendance first in the attendance activity. That's the first task. Before the session ends, the teacher will open an online forum for those students who attended the live session only. That's the second task. So how can we use PLD to automate this particular process? So the first one, you want that when the student enters your virtual classroom, they will be redirected to the attendance activity so that they will not forget to record their own attendance, right? Now, the second task will be the teacher will post a forum which will only be available for the students who recorded their attendance. So, sige. Who attended the live session. So for this one, again, we will be implementing 2 PLDs for this. So first is the redirecting of the students to the attendance activity and then grouping them so that the online forum will be made available to those who attended the live session only. So I'm going to stop the sharing and share our virtual classroom. Share screen. Okay, so this is like topic 5. So since this particular scenario involves an attendance activity, so we will just create a dummy attendance activity. So attendance, let's click save. So just add 1 session to this attendance. The date will be tomorrow, 27. Current. The time of your class is from either 1 to 2:30. Oh no, not 2:30. And then you're going to create a calendar event for that one. No, this is not a multiple session. Are you going to allow the students to record their own attendance? Yes. And then you're going to select the highest status available. Click add. And then that's it. We're going to the course page. So that's the attendance. Let me just share. Okay, so under topic 5, we now have an attendance. I'll make it as the current week. So students will be redirected to that attendance activity immediately after entering your virtual classroom. So we're going to create a PLD. Go to settings and then PLD. So our event, of course, when the student enters your virtual classroom, they will be redirected to the attendance activity. The event that we will be using is course entered, because when the student enters your virtual classroom. So the event is course entered, and then add. Sorry. So I think I'm missing something. Wait lang. Let me just cancel this first. Sorry for that. Okay. So for this particular scenario, I'll be creating a group. So a group of students, so basically this particular group will hold the list of the student who attended the live session. So create group, and then I will be naming this group attended Zoom na lang. Attended Zoom meeting. Yan. So because you will be using the group later on to filter on the participant of your forum. So that's why we need to create the group first. Save changes. Okay. Then go back to the course page. And then here, gear icon. PLD, Personalized Learning Designer. Let's go back. Add rule. So the first rule is attendance. Yeah. So when the student enters your virtual classroom, they will be redirected to the attendance activity. So select an event is course entered, add, and then we will have a so we're going to check the condition. So the event is course entered, and then our condition is we're going to check if this particular student is already added to the group, attended the Zoom meeting, right? So that's our condition. Group membership check, add, is or is not, just say is not a member of the group attended Zoom meeting. That's our group configuration. Click save. So that's our conditions. The event, when the student enters your course and that student is not yet a member of the group attended Zoom meeting, and then the action will be select an action. First, we're going to add that user to the group. That's our first action. Add, and then select group attended Zoom meeting. Click save. That's our first action. If the user is not yet added to the attended Zoom meeting group, so when he enters your course, he will be added to that group. And then the second one, that user will be redirected to the attendance activity. So go to activity and then add what kind of activity. It's an attendance activity. Here, attendance, and then save. So that's the condition. So later on, you will know why are we adding users to the group attended Zoom meeting. That's for the second task of the teacher. So click save. So that's our first PLD. So here, the event is course entered. When the student enters your course, and the condition is if that student is not yet member of the group attended Zoom meeting, then that student will be added to that group attended Zoom meeting, and then he or she will be redirected to the attendance activity to record his or her attendance. So that's it. That's the first PLD for that scenario. The second one, remember that after the Zoom activity or after the Zoom meeting, the teacher will post a forum, and then only the students who are members of attended Zoom meeting group can access the forum. That's the second task, right? So let's go back to the course page, and for an instance, the teacher will create a forum. So here, this one, this is the forum. Okay, so the forum name, this is like a sample forum. And then, yeah, standard forum for general use. Save and return to course. So that's the forum. That's the forum. So we'll be using PLD so that only the students who attended the Zoom session who are part of the group attended Zoom meeting will be able to access that particular forum. How can we do that? We can just we can create another PLD, Personalized Learning Designer. And then this time, we're going to add a rule. Let's just say the name of this rule is restrict access to a forum. And in the event, when the student viewed an activity, so remember, when the student views the forum, so what type of activity? It's a forum. The name is sample forum. So that's our event. When the student views the sample forum that the teacher posted after the Zoom session, then we're going to check, is that student member of the attended Zoom meeting group? So select condition, group membership check, add, is the triggering user, is he or she a member of the group attended Zoom meeting? That's our, it's not a member. So save, is he or she not a member? So if not a member of the attended Zoom meeting, then the action will be, we're going to display an alert. We can just display an alert, and maybe the alert will say something like, hi. Then you can have, since you were not able to attend the live, since you were not able to attend and then you can continue everything there, then you are not allowed to participate in the forum. If you wish to participate in the forum, you can contact your teacher, something like that. Okay, and then you click save and save. So that's another PLD. That's the restricting an access to an activity using this one, restrict access to a forum. So the event is when the student views the sample forum, when they're going to click or to open the sample forum, there's a condition. Is this student member of the group attended Zoom meeting? Now, if this particular student is not a member, then the condition will be true. So it will proceed to the action. There's an alert and it will say, hi. Sorry, we're going to add something pa. I think it's missing something. Edit rule. And then we can just, sorry. I'll just copy the link of the course because I will be using that in the PLD. Because what I want to do is when the student access the forum, there's a display alert, right? Then after clicking OK on that alert, they will be redirected back to the course page so that they cannot access the forum. So personalized learning, and then restrict access to a forum, edit the rule. I'm going to add one more action. So aside from displaying the alert that you are not allowed to access the forum because you were not able to attend the Zoom meeting, if you wish, you can contact your teacher. Then after that, when they click OK, they will go to a URL and they will be redirected back to the course page. And I'm going to save it so that they cannot access the forum. So that's it. Yes, ma'am. So yes, ma'am, but he or she can contact the teacher if she wants to join the forum. Okay, and the teacher can lift or disable the PLD. Yes, ma'am. Eh, di ba, that moment, for instance, if this forum is a synchronous forum, so the student can chat the teacher via the chat function, the messenger function and so, or the email the teacher, and then the teacher can, so that the teacher will also know who among the students. Yes, because upon checking the group, can say that, okay, some of the students did not attend the forum because these are, this number does not total the total number of students in my class. You have a chat? Sige. I'm going to stop the sharing. Share screen. Okay. So that's one way of restricting the students to access particular activities or resources using the PLD. So aside from the usual, diba, we do have the restrict access inside the actual activity. But what's good about using PLD is you can include alerts. You can include display alerts. You can personalize the alerts prior to restricting the access of that particular activity. Okay. In reality, any activities in MySol, there's a restrict access option. So let me just to give it a context, I'll just try to this sample forum for an instance. If I'm going to open it, and I'm going to, so see, it says here. So I'm going to open the attendance na lang, or in about topic 4. If you notice, when I open the sample forum, see, it says here. So when I open the sample forum, there's a display alert. Since you're not able to attend, blah, 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 and then when I click on close, it will lead me back to the course page. So it will not let me enter the forum. Yeah, so that's an effect of the PLD. So I'll just use another activity. For example, the quiz. We do have the restrict access option for the activities and resources. This one, restrict access. But what's good about, again, as what I've said, what's good about using PLD is that you can have alerts, you can have display alerts, and then you can have multiple actions, not just restricting, but you can, after the alert, you can direct them to a particular resource, you can direct them to a particular part of your course or class, where they need to, for example, they need to read something first before answering this one, then you can do that using PLD. So yes, you can use the restrict access, but it's also good to use the restrict access using the PLD for additional displays and personalized messages for the students. Okay, so let me just stop the sharing. So I guess right now we can proceed to our activity. Okay, so I will be posting a scenario, and then if you can, I want you to create a PLD out of the given scenario. And then for those of you who are able to share their screen later, maybe to share how he or she or how did you make the PLD out of the given scenario, then you can share it to us. So I will give you siguro mga 10 to 15 minutes for this particular activity. Okay, let me just share this. So this will be our activity for today. Share screen. That one. So I want you to create a PLD that will send a daily reminder to the students to answer a particular assignment. Reminder will only be sent to the students who have not made any submission yet. So you are going to create a PLD basically to remind the students that they need to answer an assignment. And then that particular reminder will only be sent to those students who have not made any submission yet. So sige, you have maybe 10 to 15 minutes to create the PLD. And then if you're done, you can share it with us. How did you create the PLD? Here you go. You can try. That's our activity for today. So I'm hoping someone from this batch can share to us later how did you make the PLD for this particular activity. Is from Sir Anthony, is there a downloadable manual in PLD, especially with some brief description of those choices? Sige sir, let me check on that one because I think we do have a PLD. I think PLD is part of the Soul manual, but let me just double check with Sir Fredly, and then we can send you the link, sir, or the video link for that. Ma'am Sandra, yes ma'am, you're raising your hand.
I have my created PLD already, sir.
Sige,
How
ma'am.
can I share it?
Sir Fred?
Yes, sir. Sige, sir.
Sige, sir. Thank you.
Okay na, sir?
Wait lang, ma'am. Okay na, Sir Fred?
Yes.
So,
Sige, ma'am.
I have the assignment reminder for the name, the event, recurring event that will be daily at 4:15 p.m. This is the default. I did not change it. And then the condition is that the assignment has not been completed with the action to display alert. I hope alert is all right. Is it all right? Is alert all right?
Yes, ma'am. But the
only thing is that, what, sir?
The only thing for alert, ma'am, is the student needs to be on that course, since you are using a recurring event, so the student needs to be on your course on that particular date and time so that they can see the alert.
Oh.
Yes, ma'am. But if you will use the email, then that would send notification as an email notification to the student, since you are using the recurring event as your event.
So I have to edit it for email, and
Yes,
then maybe the body of the email will be to assignment, but I can personalize it using the what can I use?
The tokens, ma'am.
The tokens. Thank you,
Yes.
sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, that's actually it. So for this particular scenario, Ma'am Sandra is right, Ma'am Tabon is right. You have to use a recurring event since it will send a daily reminder to the students. And then for the condition, you will be using the activity completed condition, because the PLD will check if the student has not completed that particular assignment, and then the action will take effect, which will then send an email to the students who have not completed that assignment. So thank you so much, Ma'am Sandra, for sharing your PLD strategy for that particular scenario. Sige, let's proceed to the open forum. Sir Fred? Sir Fred?
Okay, for this point.
Wait lang, Sir Fred. Are they going to answer the forum now or later pa?
Later pa, sir.
Later pa, sige. So, let me just proceed with I think this is the last slide na here. So, PLD, particularly the personalized learning designer that's integrated in our MySol platform, can be summed up like this. As you can see, it's more or less like a personalized learning path for the students. So if you notice, the course starts, there are a lot of students, and then eventually there will be individual or unique learning path. So some students will retake the quiz, other students will then immediately, or once they progress through the course, they will be filtered, they will be sent to different learning path, and then at the end of the day, really, the purpose of PLD is to finish the course. right? Finish the course, maybe at your own pace and at your own time. So that's what PLD is all about. Okay. So yeah, so I think that ends at least that ends my part for today's session, and I hope you learned something in terms of using PLD. There will be future sessions in terms of using personalized learning designer in our virtual classrooms, because then again, this is a broad concept, so we can have different combinations, we can have thousands of combinations in different events, different conditions, and different actions using PLD. So thank you so much. Sir Fred?
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Jade, for the detailed demonstration about utilizing PLD or Personalized Learning Designer. So at this point, if do you have questions regarding the utilization of PLD, you can type your questions in the chat box. I think there's no more question. So I proceed to the My Soul regarding the evaluation for the 4 seminars. So I will share my screen. Okay, here I will show you the My Soul training course for teachers. So the deadline for the activities is July 29, 2020. So from the very beginning, from the blended modality, we have the hybrid modality, the HyFlex modality, and then we have the designing personalized learning in limited face-to-face, or that's Sir Jay's discussion a while ago. So here, you need to submit your sample PLD with regards to the scenario given, and then you will answer the survey, and then you will get your certificate of participations if you are face-to-face training or you have the virtual training via Zoom. And then here, we will post the recordings. If you scroll up in your My Soul training course for teachers, here we will post the recordings in the Retooling Unlimited face-to-face instruction. So here you can see a book-like structure of the Zoom recordings to our seminar regarding Retooling Unlimited face-to-face instruction. So you will see here the YouTube link, and then we have the file, and then we have the sample learning plan. So that's good for the three modality. We have the blended, hybrid, and HyFlex. And also we will integrate you the sample of virtual classroom for those modality. So we will add a short of example visit to a sample blended classroom. And for hybrid also, we will post sample of hybrid and then HyFlex, and then a sort of using the PLD. We will include some of the concepts of having PLD. Like example, a while ago, Sir Jade introduced 7 scenarios in using the PLD. So we will also give you some scenarios and then how to make it. So by the usage of the files as well as other resources. So from that case, so that ends our Retooling Unlimited face-to-face instruction. So I will just share to you the screen for other announcement. Okay, here, as shown in the screen, this will be the MySoul training for newly hired faculty. So basically, we will conduct this by the month of August. So our first batch is from August 2 to 5. So this is 1 to 5 p.m. in the afternoon. You can have it in person. You will visit Dr. Mariano Lau, ICI Technology Laboratory, or via Zoom. So again, all you need to do first is just answer this form. So I will send to you the link in the chat box. So just give me a minute, and then I will send it to the Zoom chat box. And also, it is shown in the screen, the link for the MySoul new faculty form. Okay, so I will send it in the chat box. So that will be the form for the newly hired faculty. And then the training information will be given if they will fill out that particular Google form. So again, the first batch will be August 2 to 5, 2020. And then the batch 2 will be August 9 to 12. The time is 1 to 5 p.m. And then in that case, we have another for inquiry, for example, for the training. So here, this will be our contact person. So here, in requesting for virtual or face-to-face training conducted in the face-to-face training, we accommodate 50 in Dr. Mariano Lau, ICI Technology Laboratory. And for our virtual participants, we accommodate a sort of 500 participants. About if you will request in your department, you will request a virtual training about MySoul features, then you would like to email first this particular soul recipients. You need to email this three soul recipients. We have the train soul at su.edu.ph, and then you have the info soul at su.edu.ph, and we have the soul at su.edu.ph. If you have immediate concerns, you just call 422-6002 or local 417 or 418. So again, in this point, if you have questions or clarifications regarding those upcoming MySoul training for newly hired teachers, or questions or clarifications, I guess none. So don't forget, the Retooling Unlimited face-to-face deadline is July 29, 2022. So you will get your certificate of participation according to what type of mode in the training you are in, if that is in person or virtual. So thank you again for joining us in the last seminar for Retooling Unlimited face-to-face instruction. So thank you very much. And then if you have questions or concerns, don't hesitate to email us in trainsoul@su.edu.ph. Thank you everyone for joining, to our in-person and to our virtual participants. Thank you and have a great day. Before I forget, so let's have a photo opportunity. Okay. So, photo off sa. Okay. Kapit malimtan. Okay.
Pwede na po dito ka mapaduol ng photo natin kami.
Sige, photo off sa ta.
Katong phone nga nasa likod mo.
So,
or pwede na po dito mo.
Okay. Photo opportunity.
Sige ma'am.
Okay na, sir? Okay. One frame man siya. So, 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you everyone for joining the last session for Retooling Unlimited Face-to-Face.